Hi, and welcome back to Wicked Wands Tarot. My name's Carmen. Today I've got a reading for you about somebody who has been spending a lot of time alone. We've got the Hermit card. I do feel like you've been prioritizing healing and avoiding people that are probably more of like a side mission or distraction. You may feel like you don't have a lot of people that you trust at this point, but there's somebody that you are about to meet or somebody they're about to connect to. And I do think that it's going to make you feel seen or heard. This person understands you. For some of you, this is a reading about finding a new like best friend or a close friend. But for the majority of you, this is about a new love that is coming into your life. So let's call in spirit with a little bit of wind chime sound. All right, let's start with the Pause Tarot. If you're interested in a personal reading, my email address is in the description box below. Hello, Carrie. How are you doing? What else do we have? Four of Wands. So you're leveling up in your love life. Things are not going to be like they've been. You may not know it, or you may, in fact, know it quite well, that you are manifesting in a change in your love life. This could be in part because of your willingness to let go of things from your past, or in part because you've been so focused on healing from within. But this is very powerful energy saying, I'm ready for something different. I'm ready for something new. I want to be with somebody who is, they have good intentions and they want something real. Moon in the reverse, 10 of Wands in the reverse, Page of Cups, 10 of Swords in the reverse. So I realize now that I have spent too much time entertaining people that are working with less than honest intentions, or not really wanting to do right by me, not really wanting to show me who they truly are, right? Hello, how's it going, Raziel? And I'm over that. I don't want to deal with people that are, clout chasing or using people, or refusing to be honest with themselves about who they are or what they want. I'm ready for something more meaningful. I don't want that like same type of relationship that I've continued to have to heal from. So this is kind of feeling like you've put your foot down mentally, right? Like, I'm not going to mess with anyone that reminds me of people from the past, or I'm not going to get caught up in things that make me feel like, I should have seen who that person was from the beginning. So this could lead to you, having ended some friendships, having ended some relationships, right? Two of Pentacles, Nine of Swords in the reverse. But you have found a way to balance your life after others created chaos. You have, I think, avoided or like minimized the anxiety you were dealing with. You found a way to remain hopeful or work on what you could in order to get into a better situation. Even though you were dealing with people that you couldn't rely on, people that you couldn't trust. The Moon in the reverse, which is, hidden motives, is clarified by the King of Pentacles in the reverse. People that could have been maybe trying to use you for your money, or looking for a way to get ahead in the world, maybe even by taking things of yours. Eight of Pentacles, Wheel of Fortune, Nine of Wands. So you come out as the wounded warrior just as much as you come out as the magician. So you've had these experiences that have left you feeling like you can't really trust a lot of people, but you still have retained your spirit. You've retained your courage or your strength, or you've been working on that, right? And with the Eight of Pentacles, probably also quite focused on work or a project that you have. And there's change coming your way with regards to the type of offers that you get from people, because you've sent out this message that says, I'm not accepting any of the offers that are below this, right? This is the Fairy Lenormand. How's it going, Voyager? You have number 5, which is the tree. This talks about mental strength. Like I said, somebody was able to minimize the anxiety, or they knew how to deal with the things that were causing that anxiety. You bossed up, or you know you can manage this, right? Yeah. I know how to keep cool. I know how to not find myself in situations where I feel like I could have avoided this, or why do I have to deal with this kind of. No, now I know. Don't make friends with people that are going to stab you in the back. Don't date people that like to lie. You know, this is like, I've got a list of things that I've learned and I'm sticking to it. We've got the birds, number 12. Looks like everyone's talking about someone arriving. Perhaps you've moved to a new town. Perhaps someone, well, this would probably be the love interest, is moving to town. But I do think there is a lot of conversation happening about you or your person making a change. I do think it's quite possible that this is about you moving elsewhere, but you would know. There's a change that happens and it brings you in closer proximity to the person that you are supposed to get to know. This is the Kipper. There's a message that's clarifying the birds, which is excellent. And distant horizons in the reverse. There's somebody here who is visiting, but this is, I think, not somebody that you know, or this is somebody who is moving, but there's somebody that people are talking about. They may tell you about it, and the temptation to not meet this person or not really care about whoever this is probably going to be there for you, because we have courtship in the reverse. I think either you initially are just kind of like, well, I'm not like out here trying to meet new people. Not like that, you know, or you initially don't like this person. When you meet them, you're like, that's what you're going with, huh? Interesting choice. There's something here where initially you're like, meh, but you get to know this person, or you get to know them better, right? And you're like, oh, maybe I was wrong. We've got false person here, and it's clarifying the message. So it could be that there is gossip or things being said about this love interest or about you that are not true. Especially if you have somebody new moving to town and people don't really know what they're talking about. Sometimes they guess, right? They're like, oh, I heard they're from here. I hear this is what they do for work. But we do have change in the reverse, which is interesting. This is distant horizons in the reverse, is clarifier. So this could be somebody who's perhaps looking to potentially move there, or like I said, visiting. But I do think that there is a misperception or a rumor that isn't true about this person. It's going around the community. For some of you, this person's very good looking, very charming, but they're not interested in relationships. They never get into committed relationships. For some of you, people view you that way. But there's this assumption. I don't think it's like you two should not be together, but I think within the, people around you, there is this assumption that the two of you would never be in a relationship. Let's see. This is the noisy deck. Seven of Pentacles, Judgment, and Page of Pentacles in the reverse. Yeah. You're not repeating any lessons. You're not interested in doing the same thing. You're not going to pursue somebody that reminds you of your ex because you feel like you already know what that looks like. You already know how that ends. I don't need to watch that movie for the 17th time. I think I'm good. How about something different? How about something new? This is if you go to the same breakfast spot every morning and you order the same thing every day, and then one day you just like completely weird out the server because you order something different off the menu. You're ordering something different. You're not interested in that same stuff that you've experienced in romance. King of Swords, Knight of Swords, Knight of Wands. Okay. You're very soon going to meet this person. King of Swords is somebody that's very honest, somebody that you will not have to question, can you trust this person? They are also very intelligent, but I think they have just a little bit of a tendency to irritate people. They may be I feel like sometimes they speak too soon. Queen of Pentacles in the reverse. Three of Swords in the reverse. Four of Pentacles. Yeah, I see this Hermit energy as one individual, and the King of Swords is kind of aligning with both the person I'm reading for and the love interest. But this is basically saying, I got no time for games. I've got no time for people, messing around. I would rather spend time by myself if I need to. Four of Pentacles, like I'm doing great. Maybe there are books that I wanted to read and I'm finally reading them. Maybe there are projects I wanted to do around the house and I'm doing those, but like I'm not looking to get to know anybody right now. And then the Seven of Cups in the reverse is talking about clarity. This is when you find out who this person really is after people have been talking about them. So you may hear from somebody in a cafe or at a coffee shop or like a book club, something along those lines. Oh, this person, yeah, I hear that they're just like a total player, or they never get into relationships. They never do this, they never do that. There is an assumption about this person and whether or not they would get into a relationship that I think changes when this person meets you. Ace of Wands. Five of Wands in the reverse. Because there's no one like you. There is going to be a little bit of gossip and more, I think, to come, because this is somebody who generally avoids relationships, who's going to become quite smitten with you. And you may also have that reputation because you're coming out as the hermit, or people don't know much about you. This is the Edgar Allan Poe. What else do we have? Are you having a good day, Illuminati? Hello, Justin. Good morning. What else do we have? Three of Pentacles. Ace of Cups. whatever this community is, it could be like a whole town, right? This is like a little small town. It could be, for some of you, this could be a workplace, but I think this is more of a social group. And people are looking at this with like awe, like, oh, I never thought that person would fall in love. I never thought that person was interested in a relationship. Somebody needs to study this for science. There's like all these questions. Like, I didn't know they were ever going to change their ways. Like, they've always been this way. We've got the Five of Swords and the Eight of Wands. Whoever resonates with our Hermit energy is going to get some communication regarding this player, this King of Swords, or this person who doesn't like relationships. And I do think that the Hermit is going to be like, either they put their foot in their mouth, they say something a little bit silly, or they're like, what? Why would I go on a date with you? They do something that initially is a little bit of a like an affront to this King of Swords. Like, oh, I heard you weren't the type. Or aren't I a little old for you? Something along those lines. It's meant to be funny, but it does not land well with the King of Swords because it touches on the assumption everybody in the community makes, right? You're just interested in short term or you're not interested in dating at all. Hello, Peggy. How's your day going? We've got Fool in the reverse and the Queen of Swords in the reverse. Yeah. A little bit of, oops, did I do that? Maybe I should have thought about that just a little bit more before I said something, but I didn't. And you may laugh about this later, but I do think there's initially a little bit of like a, what? No, that's not going to happen. But it could be a little bit like Bridget Jones and Colin Firth and, Renee Zellweger and Bridget Jones. Where, you know, there's like a sweater that gets insulted, but they still like each other. Knight of Wands in reverse. Nine of Swords. Someone within the community is going to be frustrated by this. Some, you know, definitely amused, or they're like kind of like confused, like, what's going on? I thought you weren't really like into that. But there's somebody here who's jealous or angry. This could be a third party that wanted to date this King of Swords or a third party that wanted to date the Hermit. But we have somebody that hears about these two spending time together and they're not happy about it. They're like, what? I don't like it. This person who is jealous could be our false person, the one who is trying to spread rumors or make it seem more believable that that person's not interested in a relationship. We have the Moon, the World, Ace of Swords, and the Chariot. After the insult or the little, like, you know, getting off on the wrong foot, bad impression, whatever it is, this Hermit is like, well, guess I ruined that one. I mean, I don't know how you would ever want to like hang out with me again because like I insulted you to your face. Whoops. They make the assumption there's no way this King of Swords is going to want to talk to me. And then the King of Swords does, in fact, go out of their way to see this person again. Maybe they're amused by this honesty. Maybe they're intrigued or just physically attracted. But the King of Swords is not uninterested after this little argument or insult or whatever it is that gets the two of them kind of at odds with each other. This is What's the News. Hello, Bobby. How you doing? Brick wall, defense mechanism, guarded and hard to reach. This is our King of Swords. We've got knocked up, and I'm going to say this is meant to be in the reverse. So this could be somebody who is at an age where people would expect the King of Swords to have had a child or would have expected them to have been married. So maybe their ability to kind of hold out and not get into a serious relationship is part of why people talk about them maybe not being interested in that. But I do think that part of the reason the King of Swords has not been in a relationship or pursued one is because they have had a similar experience as the Hermit, where people that they did try to pursue were not trustworthy. I'm doing well, thank you. It's just a little cold. No big deal. What else do we have? We have the Detective card. This King of Swords starts to look up information on this Hermit. They're like, hey, you were not like the rest. There's something that intrigues this King of Swords about the Hermit. They are both intelligent. So I do think the conversation would be witty or, delightful in some way. But they are trying to figure out whatever they can about this Hermit, what they get into, what they like. There could be special interest in what romantic history this Hermit has. Like, who did you date before me? Oh no. Just dropped like half of them. That's not half of them. Where'd you go? All right, we have to find those later, okay, you guys? So we've got memories, peacing out, thank you next, leaving and not caring, and repo. Default on payments, financially incapable, repossessed as assets. I think the both of you had quite the run with people that are only in it for themselves. They don't really think about your feelings. So they find some information about this Hermit and what has happened in the past. If they're technologically savvy or they know how to find this information, they may be surprised at what the Hermit has gone through in terms of loss or betrayal. And that could prompt them to look for another excuse to talk to this Hermit. Hello, Brad. How are you doing today? Hello, Frederick. I believe that to be true. All right, what else do we have? Oops. Moon in the reverse again. Hidden motives. 7 of Wands. I think this is our King of Swords saying to the Hermit, I understand now why you may have thought that I don't have the best of intentions, or I understand why you may feel like it's necessary for you to protect yourself or not really seek the company of people you would assume are not trustworthy. They may say, I know you've been through some ish. Tower in the reverse and the Lovers. I think the Hermit is then a little shocked because even though they may have been a bit cold towards this King of Swords, even though they may not have been um, super compassionate, maybe they were just kind of making jokes the whole time. This King of Swords shows some vulnerability, tells some of their own experience, and basically says, I could never do to you what you might assume that I would do because that's been done to me. They are vulnerable before the Hermit is. The King of Swords decides to be honest about what they've been through. And I think it's a bit shocking for this Hermit. They don't expect the King of Swords to be that willing to share themselves, right? So we have the World and the Eight of Pentacles. A bit of a sense of awe, you know? I really did think that you were just kind of not that deep of a person, maybe just a little superficial or a little too focused on what you own or how much money you have or what people think about you. But the more I get to know you, the more I realize that you're a hardworking person and very intelligent. So it's discovering somebody after you've heard gossip that suggests this person is not very compassionate, and you find out that people don't necessarily have the best understanding of who they are. They're looking at one side of the story because they don't understand what the King of Swords has been through. So King of Pentacles in the reverse, they could have had something stolen from them or somebody betray them for some sort of financial reason. But I don't think a lot of the community is aware of this. They may just assume, or they may have been told by the King of Swords, I'm just not into relationships. That's just not my thing. But we have a surprising conversation or a willingness to be vulnerable that makes our Hermit individual reconsider how they've looked at or judged this King of Swords. They realize that they're much more complex than initially suspected, and that they have done much of the healing that people might assume they've avoided or never had a reason to go through. So this is okay. Did not expect that from you. Definitely feel like I understand more about you and we have a lot in common. So this conversation, the fact that the King of Swords chooses to be vulnerable during this conversation is what really, I think, kicks off this love or this relationship with the Hermit, because it's a confirmation that you're willing to be yourself, you're willing to be authentic, but you also understand what I've been through because I've been through something similar. Hermit in the reverse. Queen of Cups. The reason I haven't been interested in relationships is the same reason you haven't been interested in relationships. Because I've run into too many people who are willing to not learn from their mistakes. Too many people that don't want to hold themselves accountable, when all I'm trying to do is offer them love. So it may have been a long time ago, but this King of Swords basically learned the same lesson as the Hermit, which was, I don't know if I really want to get to know too many people on like a close level because I don't really trust very many people. And the Hermit can't really say much about that considering they've employed the same strategy, right? The Devil. Hanged Man in the reverse. Eight of Cups and the Knight of Cups. Things might escalate quickly. This might be one of those times where they have this conversation. Maybe they're on a date. Maybe they're on the phone. Maybe they're states away from each other or in a different country. But it's like this conversation leads to like a progression or this increase in desire. Now all I want to do is get to know you more. Now all I want to do is see you. But if you recall, I think somebody is visiting. I don't think that this King of Swords lives here or they travel for work. There's something that causes this Knight of Swords to walk away, or duty calls, right? They can't stay. But it's really difficult for them. They keep looking back, feeling like what they'd really like to do is stay and get to know this hermit better. I've never met anyone like you. I feel like you understand where I'm coming from or how I operate. I need to get to know you better, but I can't stay here. This is the signs of the times. Metamorphosis, butterfly, number 22. This is about our King of Swords. They have gone through a metamorphosis that was more undercover, more secret. People didn't realize where their mindset really was. They may have made judgments based on just the surface level, right? But this person is opening up to being more demonstrative or being more open to an actual relationship with this person, even though there are plenty of people that might be interested in talking quite a lot about that development. Yin and Yang balance, number 4. And we have number 22 as the first one. So it's like 2 + 2 = 4. I have never met somebody that balances their intellect with their compassion so elegantly, or I have never found somebody that I am so, attracted to, but also just you're a good person. There's a duality here to this attraction or this connection that makes the King of Swords feel like they could have potentially found somebody that they really do want to keep in their life. And the Hermit, I think, is feeling the same because we have mirror, reflection. They both are falling in love at, I think, the same time. This is the Energy Oracle. What else do we have? The Thinking Woman. Yeah, the intelligence factor here is a big deal. These are two people who feel like they have a lot of wisdom they've gained from difficult times, and this is something that brings these two together. Angel of Balance right underneath the Yin and Yang. So this is like, you complete me. They can't imagine being attracted to anybody else now that they're getting to know this King of Swords, or now that they're getting to know this Hermit. There's very strong attraction between these two. All right, let's get a few from the Egyptian tarot. Eight of Wands, Knight of Pentacles, Eight of Pentacles in the reverse. So the number 8 could be important, but what I see is somebody making a change in their responsibilities because they don't want those responsibilities to conflict with their desire to be near this love interest. So if I have a job that requires that I travel for, 6 months out of the year, I don't want to do that anymore. If I have a job where I'm, working for a branch that's 2 hours away and there's one that's only 20 minutes away, then I'm going to switch to the one that's closer so that I can spend more time with you. This is somebody arranging their life in order to be able to get to know the Hermit better, because this feels like it's the King of Swords energy. Nine of Cups in the reverse. Being away from you is too difficult. All I want to do is make new memories with you. I feel like I've known you so much longer than I really have, in part because you are just like me, or you compliment me nicely, right? That's COMPLE, not LI. Compliment would be like we balance each other out, right? Nine of Swords and the reverse. So now we have 2 8s and 2 9s. And the Ace of Cups. I used to worry about whether I would ever find somebody that understands me or cares for me the way that I want to care for them. And now I'm not worried about that anymore. Nine of Swords in the reverse. Relief. Ace of Cups. Love. Six of Wands. Love that they feel could work out. Somebody that they feel they really can trust. Justice. Eight of Swords in the reverse. Another 8. Well, actually 2, because Justice is actually number 8 in this deck. Five of Wands in the reverse. There's no one like you. We had that over here too. I know that people might talk. I know that people might think that we're a strange couple. I know there may be somebody out there who's a little bit jealous. I know you may feel like things are moving a little bit fast, but I don't want anybody else. I know what I want, and it's you, like forever. I just want to have more conversations with you. I want to build a life with you. This is a lot of excitement because we have, I think, 2 individuals that had maybe started to accept that relationships might not just be their thing. And then they run into somebody who is quite ideal. We have Strength. And the Two of Swords. Yeah. This I'm taking as these 2 individuals, the Hermit and the King of Swords, they are each a force to be reckoned with on their own. But the 2 of them together are even more powerful, are even more capable of effecting change or being a positive influence on others. As I mentioned, they're both very intelligent. So they may have some ideas in terms of what they can do to help the community in which they live or improve upon, laws, something along those lines. Maybe they want to start a charity. We've got the 10 of Wands in the reverse. Page of Pentacles. And the Empress in the reverse. There's someone, this could be our jealous individual, right? Or the false person. There's someone here who's going to be commenting about the fact that the 2 of you are getting into a relationship. And I think the advice here is don't pay them any mind. They're upset. They're going to whine about it, or they're going to tell you you shouldn't be with this person. That's fine. They can have their opinion, but they also don't seem to know what they're talking about. Just saying. Gotta know what you're talking about if you're going to give advice. It's kind of a requirement. Okay. This is the Crow Tarot. What else do you need to know? For some of you, this is an X, this Empress in the reverse. Because I do feel like the general vibe is most people do not want these 2 people together, or they're just confused by the 2 of you together. But there is some energy here trying to prevent the 2 of you. That seems to be a common theme today. Strength in the reverse, 2 of Cups in the reverse. Yeah, this feels like an ex that is upset that you are actually pursuing somebody seriously, or that you are able to love again, that you have moved on. They feel like it's ruining their chances at a second chance with you, right? Which is probably true. Things are looking fairly serious from my perspective between these two, where somebody being able to distract one of these two, or, you know, steal one of these, I don't think that's really likely. These two are quite smitten. Ace of Swords, Justice in the reverse. So there's communication that comes in from somebody from your past. I feel like this is an ex for one of you, and this person feels like it's not fair that you've moved on. They're trying to find a way to get another chance. I don't see that happening. I do feel like this King of Swords and this Hermit are very focused on each other. They're not really interested in other people. And if they were, they would not necessarily be like, oh, let's go dabble in the past. I'm sure there's something I could find back there. That'll be great. No, this is like, what? No, I don't think so. Hanged Man in the reverse. Seven of Swords in the reverse. Someone's in denial. They're refusing to see that the winds have changed. The time has passed. They don't have this hold on the King of Swords or on the Hermit like they used to. There's just there's a change, transformation. We had the Metamorphosis card, letting go of the past, deciding I wanted a new life, or I want a new experience with regards to love. I'm not going to get distracted by that same type or that same kind of energy. So this person from the past is a little bit confused because they didn't expect you to change so quickly or to heal from that situation the way you did. They feel like they could get you to listen, but now they're realizing maybe you're actually in love with this other person and I have like zero chance. All right, this is the situations deck. What else do we have? Toxic energy from the past. An offer that I see, or a confession that I see not really having much of an impact. And then we have Twin Flames. This card's been following me, you guys. So this could be another one of those readings where we've got a twin flame dynamic that has one person healed and another that was not healed. And they're trying to figure out whether or not they've truly lost this person they consider to be a soulmate or their twin flame, because they have not finished their lessons or their spiritual awakening. They're losing access to this person today, apparently. Whenever you see this reading, this Empress in the reverse, somebody who has not been able to go through that spiritual awakening and learn about what needed to change or see things from a new perspective, they are losing access to their twin flame. All right. What do we need? We'll go with the Gilded Reverie. What happens with the Hermit and the King of Swords? This looks to me like somebody is moving and getting a different job, or somebody is moving to be closer to the Hermit, or the Hermit is moving to be close to the King of Swords. This feels to me like joining forces, building a house together, changing a job, or doing what they need to in order to be in each other's lives. We've got 37, which is the clock. Time is a big factor. So there is, I think, something here about maybe being a little bit secretive or not telling everyone what's going on, because they don't feel like they can trust their friends, or they don't feel like they can trust this community. So I do feel like there's a lot of people gossiping and trying to figure out what's going on between these two, but I don't think the King of Swords and the Hermit are interested in letting everybody know what their business is. If we're going to get married, or if I'm moving away to be with this person, why would I need to tell you? You're not really my friend. Information about my life is privileged. You don't automatically get access to it, you know? So we've got the sarcophagus, the whip, and the scythe. Holy cow. Whew. So basically, this is a very serious cutting of the cord, or letting go of a connection. You didn't work on yourself. You didn't put in the effort. You didn't want to become a better version of yourself, like we should all seek to do. So I have to let it go. I have to walk away. I have to pursue something that is more reflective of the effort or the work I've put into myself. If you know my channel, you know that when the whip comes out, I tell a little joke. You guys have been spoiled lately. This is like 3 days in a row. The whip. No, not the whip. The whip. No, please, not the whip. The whip. No, please, anything but the whip. Anything? The whip. All right, we'll get a few more messages from the Beginner's Tarot, and then we call it a day. Nine of Wands in the reverse. Eight of Pentacles in the reverse. So because this Empress in the reverse did not put in the effort, did not defend what they needed to, or pursue the path that would enable them to be mentally or emotionally ready or available for a connection with their twin flame, that's why things are changing. That's why they may consider this a disaster. They don't know how to fix this. They may feel like all they did was just kind of like procrastinate a little bit. Like, what do you mean you don't like my offer? But what they offered wasn't real, because they hadn't done the work to get there. So we've got Four of Swords and the Nine of Pentacles. This Empress in the reverse is going to have another opportunity to address the healing that they did not. And I do feel like they still have a chance to have a beautiful romantic relationship as well. Just don't know that it's going to be with the person that they're a little fixated on right now. In part, it's because they were being manipulative, or even love bombing or gaslighting somebody within this relationship, within this twin flame dynamic. And with the Queen of Cups in the reverse, Moon in the reverse, this is the ex that somebody has been learning to distance themselves from. Right? Your behaviors, the way you treat people that you supposedly love. These are the things that I had to learn to reject, that I had to learn to walk away from, because I know I deserve better than that. Hanged Man in the reverse, Queen of Pentacles in the reverse. So even though you felt like you still had time, I took your indecision as a decision. You didn't know if you wanted to fix things. You didn't know if you wanted to work on yourself. And to me, that said, you didn't know if you really wanted me. So I'll make the decision for you, or I already have, right? They've decided I'm going to move forward with this King of Swords, or the King of Swords has decided they're moving forward with the Hermit. Yeah. Moving forward, I'm really excited about this new person that I've met. And even though I appreciate the time I had and what I've learned from you, I'm not interested in going back to that. So, no, thank you. This is the Golden Girls. Magician in the reverse. No longer able to manipulate their twin flame. The Empress in the reverse decides they have to walk away. They have to give up, I guess. I didn't get this because I wasn't willing to put in the time or the energy, the effort, and I guess that's just like sometimes how the cookie crumbles. Who said that initially? I can't remember. This is so awful, trying to have a Band-Aid on your knuckle. All right. Empress in the reverse again. King of Swords. For the majority of you, this is the ex of the King of Swords. They are realizing they have no future with the King of Swords. The King of Swords is already set on this Hermit. The Hermit is the one that inspires me. The Hermit is the one that makes me want to be a better person. I'm not interested in alternatives or options. I know who I want. Hello, Frederick. How are you doing? Hello, Key Controller. Or wait, are you saying hello to someone else? Hello, Jane Doe. No worries. Hello, Dr. Emery. Well, I'm glad I could fix that for you. Yeah, so now this King of Swords has a new love, 2 cups. Page of Swords. King of Cups in the reverse. Knight of Pentacles. 10 of Cups in the reverse. Yeah, I mean, there's just a couple people that are upset about this news, okay? They really wanted to pursue the Hermit, or they wanted to pursue the King of Swords themselves. And so, yeah, there's definitely jealousy here. There's definitely people who felt like, I was just going to give it like another week and then I was going to hit on you. And then you went and like fell in love with somebody else. How dare you? There are some people who are jealous. Keep that in mind as you hear reactions from people. Some of you may choose, I don't really care what those reactions are. We'll leave it. I don't want to stay here. I don't want to live in this. Like there's, I think, a decent percentage of you where the twosome, the King of Swords and the Hermit are like, let's go somewhere else. Let's find a new place. Let's find a new community, because they all got opinions and stuff, but I don't really care about those opinions. Good luck to you new loves, and thank you for the likes and subscribes. I appreciate you all. I will see you on the next reading. Doodles.